What was your reaction, Barry, when you got word, Randy Gregory, another calf injury, and he's going to be out for the next few weeks? I kind of pooped myself a little bit. I don't know if you had the same reaction.
Yeah. My first reaction, I'm sitting there thinking, what are we doing with these calf muscles? Like, are we not stretching? Like, what is going on? Because that's Gallup, that's Dak, now Gregory. These calf muscles are going crazy out there. But once I realized what was going on, it's just, man, it's got me a little nervous. Because if you think about it, these past couple games, the guy that had a steady pass rush and the guy that was really putting pressure on quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins and Bridgewater a little bit there last week, was Randy Gregory. And outside of that, you didn't really hear anybody putting big-time rushes on there. I mean, you had Odigizua. He came in there a little bit last week and provided some pressure, but he's not Jeffrey Simmons. He's not Aaron Donald. I don't think he's going to be able to have a consistent pass rush throughout the game. And Gregory was that guy for us. And with him being out, I mean, this Atlanta Falcons team, I mean, they do have some mismatches on offensively. And if you don't make things hard for Matt Ryan back there, it could turn into a shootout. And I don't think we want any parts of that. So we're going to definitely have to find somebody to generate some type of pressure. But Gregory, his injury definitely makes me a little nervous.
Now, I mean, without Randy, what do you do now from a defensive standpoint? What do you expect? How can the Cowboys try and generate a pass rush? Well, where do they go from here?
Well, I think you definitely got to figure out a way to generate some pressure. And by doing that, you either got to design some exotic blitzes, maybe bring our boy Jordan Lewis on a couple blitzes, maybe design some plays where Parsons is at the defensive end, but I don't want to see him there the entire game. I think that cuts his snaps down a lot when he's at the DN position, and I like what he's able to do at linebacker because he can affect the quarterback when he blitzes as well. So I think you got to design some type of blitzes, maybe Lewis, maybe Parsons in there, design some type of thing to get Matt Ryan thinking. We got to disguise our coverages a little bit just so it can give our defensive line an extra tick, an extra second to get back there while Matt Ryan is deciphering what defense we're in. But we got to generate some type of pressure because, I mean, this might not be the Matt Ryan of old, might not be the MVP Matt Ryan, but this guy, if you give him time, he still has the capabilities to dice you up. So we got to generate some type of pressure going into Sunday.
Do you envision some more of that, kind of like that Chargers game early on in the year where Micah Parsons played quite a bit out there on the edge? Is that something you would envision happening, more Parsons on the edge this week, or maybe not?
I would love to see him get some type of packages where he's on the edge. I don't want him there the entire time because, like I said earlier, that cuts his snaps down. And when he's off the field, he can't affect the game. And we already got our best guy, Randy Gregory, out for injury. DeMarcus Lawrence is out as well. So I don't want him to take too much time off the field. And that's what defensive end does to you. It takes a lot of reps out of you. That's why you got to rotate a lot. So I like him to stay at linebacker and blitz a little bit from there, but definitely have sprinkle in some packages here and there where it's a for sure pass down and we can put him at defensive end. But I definitely don't want to see him there the entire game.
Barry Church with us here in the Nosebleed seats, getting you set for Cowboys Falcons. Kyle Pitts obviously brings quite a matchup nightmare to the Cowboys defense. How do you envision playing him? I mean, is it a Trayvon Diggs situation where you try to shadow him that way? Does Jaron Kearse have that ability? I mean, I don't know what you do with a guy like Pitts.
Yeah, this one right here, it's going to be tough because not only Pitts, but you also got Cordero Patterson out there who is a mismatch nightmare as well. I mean, he can run between the tackles, and if you think you can just play your base package out there, they split him outside. And if you match him up on a linebacker or safety, he has the ability to run past you. And that's the same with Kyle Pitts as well. I mean, this guy's a freak athlete who, if you throw a linebacker on him, he can outrun him. If you throw a safety or a corner on him outside, he uses his size and strength to out-physical the guy. So it's definitely going to be tough. And I can envision them trying to put him on the slot or put him on the inside to force our linebackers and safeties to kind of cover him and get after him. But, I mean, to me, I think you got to run a little bit more zone this week. I mean, I know we've been a predominantly man team. Quinn loves his man, especially with this team because we've been pretty well at it. But for this week, I mean, there's just too many mismatches on the inside with our linebackers and safeties versus those guys that I wouldn't want to put them on there man-to-man the entire game. I mean, I'm not worried about Diggs or Brown on the outside because there's no Calvin Ridley, there's no Julio Jones out there. But on the inside, they got mismatched nightmares. So we may want to sprinkle a little bit of zone in there this week instead of going predominantly man.
Barry Mother Evan Church with us here in the Nosebleed seats on 105.3 The Fan. Now, I was wondering your thoughts watching the Denver game and the lack of tackling defensively in the run game. Now, it was very obvious that this defense was going for the strip. They were trying to force the turnover. So watching it, I'm trying to balance, okay, clearly if you're able to get the strip, it's a momentum swinging opportunity. You badly need some kind of positive play to sway momentum in your favor. If you get the turnover, that's huge. But as a defensive player, how do you balance that from going for that play versus let's just finish it and get a player on the ground so he's not breaking away for a 25, 30-yard chunk?
Yeah, you got to get the player on the ground first. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head right there because, I mean, we saw too much out there. It was a lot of single tackles. There was a lot of one-on-one tackles out there, and that's not what this team has been doing so far this season. So far, it's been a lot of gang tackling, 3, 4, 5 hats at the ball at the same time, and then that's when you can get in there and strip and rip at the ball and try to create a takeaway. But what they did on Sunday, I mean, it was just a lot of, I don't know, it was like a lot of loafing going on, and there was just maybe 1 or 2 guys at the ball carrier. But if you're both stripping for the ball, I mean, he's going to run right through you. We saw what Williams was able to do on that one play where he carried about 4 Cowboys, ripped through them, and then he kept going for another 10, 12 yards. So you definitely got to focus on getting the guy down first, and that's what gang tackling is all about. If you can get a guy wrapped up, then your friends can come in there and punch at the ball and get it out that way. But if you don't got the guy on the ground stripping at the ball, it's just going to add to leaky yardage. And we saw what happened out there. I mean, Denver almost rushed for over 200 yards, and a lot of it came after contact. So that's what worries me a lot because we've seen this formula before. We've seen this defense struggle when they go against a team that can run the ball. And if they do that, I don't think they can make as long of a playoff run as they want to. So these guys definitely got to shore up that interior of the D-line and make sure they fix up this run defense.
We have talked with you before about how do you stop and slow down this Cowboys offense. Well, Denver thinks they figured it out. They were puffing out their chest afterwards. Vic Fangio is saying, hey, this is, we did it, right? So it's a copycat league. You know that better than anybody. Do you think that this is something that other defenses now will go ahead and try and emulate, and this is now going to be an issue moving forward for the Cowboys offense?
They may try to do that, but, I mean, it's going to be tough because the strength of the Denver defense was their secondary. I mean, they had an extremely strong secondary out there, so they can afford to have one-on-one coverage out there with our receivers and stack the box versus the run and pretty much focus and make Dak have to beat you with his arm, which he's more than capable of doing. But this is a guy that came off a 2-week break. I mean, he was injured for 2 weeks, came in. He was a little rusty out there, some drop passes. So I don't think that's the blueprint to try to slow this offense down because, I would love any team to go out there and try to go one-on-one across the board with our receivers. I mean, they're going to eat them alive. It's not going to be a game where these guys are dropping all these passes each and every week. So I don't think they got the blueprint. I just think, they played a heck of a game. You got to give kudos to the Broncos. They did play a heck of a game and executed the game plan to perfection. But, I mean, the Cowboys did a lot to hurt themselves as well. A lot of drop passes, a lot of penalties out there. Dak was a little bit rusty. So I don't see that going forward. But definitely they're going to have to find a way to orchestrate some type of running game, even if guys are stacking the box, just so it can open up things for Dak in this passing offense.
Barry, you had a pretty good prediction last week. Ultimately, there was no Blue Chew Award handed out, but Jordan Lewis had himself the ball god interception. That was very, very nice.
Man, I was close.
It was strong. I mean, your Anthony Brown selection, your Jordan Lewis. I mean, you've been right there. You've been right there. I think this might be the week where your prediction comes to full fruition. Who do you imagine being handed the Blue Chew Player of the Game award for the guy who goes the hardest for the longest on Sunday?
Well, I hope this guy shows up big time because we're going to need him in that front four. But I'm going to have to go with Odigizua. I mean, he showed a little bit last week. He had some pressures out there, but I'm going to need his game to pick up a little bit more because without Randy Gregory out there, we're going to have to fashion some type of way to get pressure. Hopefully it's up the gut, so I think he's going to have a couple tackles, maybe a sack or two, but he's definitely going to impact the game, and I'm going to finally win this award after our 10th or 11th date, whatever it is. I'm finally going to win this award.
I believe in you. I believe in you. You're on. You're just inching closer and closer to victory. Very excited. Okay, so we got you down in pen, not pencil. It's Osa Odigizua, Blue Chew Player of the Game prediction for Barry Church. Now, last week we started a fun new game with you. This game could end at any time. It could end tonight. You are officially 0 for 1 in this game. We are going to play you the sound. Very sensual sports analysis. What sport is being analyzed here? Take it away, Mr. Bayless.
I just busted right inside him, and he can't extend on me anymore, and he seems a little overwhelmed by my girth and tonnage, right?
Right.
I mean, this is out. Bro, what was my last week? Yes, was that basketball last week?
Basketball, and then you limped in with some curling there at the end, but I won't hold that one against
okay.
you.
No, I liked the curling guess.
He's definitely talking about being inside, too girthy. Man, let's fencing. Can I get fencing for 400?
You can, but you won't come up with actually any money. So apologies there. Apologies there. We will, just so that you can ponder for the weekend. We'll fire it off one more time, so you can meditate on it, and then we'll get next week's guess next week. But here it is one more time.
I just busted right inside him, and he can't extend on me anymore, and he seems a little overwhelmed by my girth and tonnage, right?
Right. Okay, you can meditate on that, Barry.
I'll meditate. I'll get it right next week.